Hey everybody, welcome to Centerpoint. We're so glad that you're joining us for our service this morning. My name is Justin and this is Bradley. We're some of the pastors here at the church, and we want to welcome you to our gathering, let you know about some things happening and also how to get connected. Now, if you have not gotten connected with us yet, the best thing you could do, and it's super easy, text Centerpoint to 94,000. We'll reply with a text of a couple options on things you may want to learn about or ways you can get connected. So text Centerpoint to 94,000, and that's the best first step to get connected and also to learn about things happening over the next few weeks.
Yeah, in fact, one of the biggest things happening this summer is for all of our rising sixth graders through our graduated seniors. We are doing an event here called The Weekend. That's July 9th through the 10th. It's our new summer camp experience that you are going to want to be a part of. So for more information about that or to register your spot, because that has to happen this month, you can check our website, our app, or right after service, you can head out to our courtyard and see our information booth.
Bradley talked about graduating seniors. Now, we are so excited for you as you're moving into this next stage of life. We also want to remind you we have an incredible college experience here through CC College launching this fall. Now, through partnership with Southeastern University, we're offering accredited degree programs, a paid internship, as well as real-life job and leadership training. So if you've graduated recently and you're not sure what your next step of life is, we think CC College is for you. We'd love to talk to you more about that. You get information on our website or text CC College to 94,000, and we'll follow up with you there.
And then lastly, we just want to make sure that July 16th is on your calendar. We are doing a celebration night here on campus to celebrate all that God has done over this last season of our church. So we're going to have some social time together, an amazing worship set, and celebrate baptisms. So do not miss this. Make sure your calendars are marked July 16th.
Now, for things that we've talked about in this video or anything else happening in the church, make sure you check out our app for information, our website, and also our Pulse email that we send out with all the information, all the details, so you won't miss a thing. Like, guys, sit tight. We're going to start service in just a minute. We're so glad you're here, and we're excited to worship with you.
Centerpoint Church, good morning. How you guys doing? Man, it's good to see y'all today. We missed you guys last week. Hey, we got a new song for you this weekend. Some friends of us up here wrote this one, so hope you have a good time with it. It's called Always. Let's put your hands together. Come on, let's go.
Only one who sets me free.
We get a chance to declare this morning that no matter what, He promises to see us through. Is that right? Celebrate with us this morning, CC. Let's keep it going. I know y'all know the words to this. Come on. I searched the world, but it couldn't fill me. Man's empty praise, treasures that fade, never enough. Then you came along and put me back together. Every desire is now satisfied here in your love. Let me hear y'all this morning. Come on. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Lord, there's nothing is better than you. Sing, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. Show you my weakness, my failures and flaws. Lord, you've seen them all, and you still call me friend. Oh, 'cause the God of the mountain is the God of the valley. There's not a place your mercy and grace won't find me again. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing is better than you. Let's sing that again, come on. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing is better than you. I want to hear y'all scream today. Come on. You turn mourning for dancing. You give beauty for ashes. You turn shame into glory. You're the only one who cares. turn mourning. You turn mourning to dancing. You give beauty for ashes. You turn shame into glory. You're the only one who can. You turn praise. You turn praise into garden. You turn bones into armies. You turn seas into highways. You're the only one who can. Sing it again. You're the only one who can. Oh, there's nothing. Come on. Better than you. Oh, there's nothing. No. So there's nothing. Nothing is better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing. Nothing is better than you. No. You turn graves into gardens. You turn bones into armies. You turn seas into highways. You're the only one who can. You turn graves into gardens. You turn bones into armies. You turn seas into highways. You're the only one who can. You're the only one who can. You're the only one who can. Thank you, Jesus, for what you do for us. Thank you for being in this place this morning. God, we come to you humbly right now. We offer ourselves up. God, we make ourselves available to you. Come into this place. Feel tangible in this place. Help us to love you more and acknowledge you more in all the things that we do. We love you, God.
Narrow as the road may seem, I'll follow where your spirit leads. Broken as my life may be, I will give you every piece. I hear you call, I am available. I say yes, Sing this with me. I hear
That was so incredible. Man, you can go ahead and have a seat. My name is Justin. I'm one of the pastors here, and I'm so glad that you're here joining us today. Whether this is your first time or you've been coming a long time, I want to welcome you to our gathering and let you know this is an alternative to church as usual, and we like it that way, and we think you will too. And if you haven't gotten connected with us or gotten in community with us, we'd love to help you do that. The easiest thing for you to do is text Centerpoint to 94,000. You text that, we'll reply with a couple options on how you can get connected. And that's our whole desire, is that you get connected, you also would find community. Now, if you have questions about stuff, like what does our church believe, or how do I get involved, or things like that, Next Steps is the best place for you to go. It happens every single month here on site and online. So check it out. You'll get lots of answers to all the questions you might have. Again, we do it all the time. We had a great Next Steps event a couple weeks ago I'm going to tell you about in just a second. But I want you to know, to get connected, check out Next Steps. And if you're trying to find community, which I know a lot of us are, you come to a new church, you're like, man, how do I meet people? How do I get connected? How do I find community? Our groups are a great place for you to find some community with people. Now, I will tell you, a lot of our groups pause for the summer because there's all the traveling, different things like that. But we do still have some groups going, including a special group my wife Rachel and I are going to lead called Re-Engage. It's a marriage group where we're going to talk through 4 weeks. We're going to talk really practical stuff to help your marriage. Doesn't matter if you've been married a long time or a short time, if your marriage is great or you're not sure if your marriage could ever be great. Everybody and anybody's welcome to come to this and check it out. And I really believe after these couple of weeks, you're going to learn some things that can help you thrive in marriage. But that's just one of our groups this summer. So there's a lot going on at CC. Make sure you check out our app and our website. That way you can get all the details on all that stuff every single month. Now, I mentioned we had a Next Steps event a couple weeks ago. It was incredible. We had dozens of people in the room, and people were asking questions, getting connected. It was a great time. But I can tell you, the thing we celebrated the most as a staff, which I want to share with you so we can celebrate as a gathering, is someone at Next Steps. They said, man, we've been looking for a church like this our entire life. And they've been trying to find a church that's different than other churches. And it doesn't mean other churches are bad. It just means that we're just different. And a lot of us, man, we've found a church that's an alternative to church as usual. And we love it, and Jesus is using it in incredible ways. And this is the thing, like, we get to have a great time with this, but also, as a gathering, we get to be part of this through our financial generosity. Through you, with your gifts, every single month, just like my family, we give every single month. We are able to impact lives all over the place and create a church for this person. I said, I'm looking for this everywhere, and I haven't found it, but I found it here. So thank you so much for giving. And if you'd want to be part of that, like, man, I'd love to be part of making an impact and changing people's lives through Jesus Christ. Man, we want to make it easy. You can text Centerpoint Give to 94,000. Super simple to do it, and it's a way for you to be involved in making an impact in other people's lives. I want to tell you, church, you are making an impact in other people's lives. Now, speaking of making an impact, I want to introduce you to some people who've made a great impact this year. You may have known that we have an internship program here at Centerpoint Church. We had 4 interns this past year serve all year long. They're coming out right now. I want to introduce you to them because they're actually finishing up their internship right now. I'll tell you, it has been such an honor to work with these young adults. See, at Centerpoint, we believe in young leaders, and we believe they can lead. So they're not interns like running and getting coffee and making copies. I mean, some of y'all made a lot of copies, but they were leading stuff. They were teaching kids and teaching students. They were setting up stages and tearing things out. They were leading, coaching other musicians. They were doing all kinds of things, and they were learning some leadership skills along the way because we believe we want to invest in young leaders to release them to be culture shapers no matter where they go in life. And we've done it this year with these students, and I want to introduce you to these people. So this is Faith right here. Man, we can celebrate. So Faith this past year has worked specifically with our student ministry music team. She's been doing a lot of stuff on Wednesday nights. She actually is so cool. She started here at CC singing in our student ministry, and now she's helping lead the team of our student ministry musicians, which is incredible. Jamie, right next to her is Jamie. Jamie's been serving with our elementary ministry this year, bringing all the energy, all the passion every single week. If you've ever met Jamie, you know no one cannot like Jamie. She's so great, loving on kids, doing so good with that. McKenna right here, she's been working with our preschool ministry. which McKenna is a force to be reckoned with. She just graduated high school. She's going on to college, but she has like all these certifications and all this stuff. She's like 18 going on 35. You know what I'm saying? It's been an incredible impact with our student or our preschool ministry. And then Colton here in the end, he's done nothing all year, actually. He just shows up. No, I'm just kidding. He's been incredible. He's done all sorts of next-gen stuff, from kids ministry to student ministry, really making an impact, welcoming kids. And again, you all have done such an incredible job. As a church, we are so proud of you. We are so honored that you would take a year to learn, and now you have a responsibility to take what you've learned and go make an impact anywhere you go. Now, I'll let you know also, if you just recently graduated, you know someone that recently graduated, we do have our CC College launching this fall. So we have an opportunity for students to be part of an internship similar to what they just finished. We're going to have an info night coming up, so make sure you're checking that out if you're interested. So church, we're going to pray over these interns, these adults, these leaders. So if you would, all over the place, would you stand to your feet as we pray for them and just what God has for them? God, thank you so much for these people. God, for Colton and McKenna and Jamie and Faith. God, thank you for the impact that they've had this year. God, the children's lives that are different because of the students' lives that are different because of the parents and the families. God, the people who view God differently because of their impact this year. God, thank you for the leadership that they've learned, and we pray that they would use that and steward that well no matter where they go in life, that they would have an incredible impact for you. God, we ask you to use them in great ways. We love you, and we thank you for these servants. Amen. Would you all give it up one more time for these four? Now you can go ahead and have a seat. Now we're starting a brand new series today called Love Where You Live. It is incredible. Check out the screen, and you're going to hear from Bradley in just a minute.
Well, good morning, Centerpoint Church. How are we doing this morning? Thank you guys so much for being here in the house. To everyone watching online or listening online, wherever you're watching or tuning in from, thank you for checking us out and hanging out with us this morning. We're starting a new series called Love Where You Live. And real quick, I want to introduce myself for those of you who I still haven't met, or maybe you're newer here. My name is Bradley Hamilton. I'm one of the pastors here. And to give you a little bit about me, my beautiful wife, Jamie, is in the back. And we've been married for 2.5 years. Now she's saying no, do not point me out, but I just did. And she is holding our 4-month-old son, Brecken, and now she really hates me. Now everyone's clapping for her, and she really hates it. We actually just moved here a year ago from Atlanta, Georgia. And Atlanta, we love so much. We've always loved it. What's not to love about Atlanta? But I have to say, we have a special love for our city now here in Tampa. And it has just had a special place in our hearts. And we truly love where we live, even though it's humid at 8 a.m. outside and you're sweating. And we often find lizards in our bathroom. We still love it, and it's really home for us. And so I'm so excited to start this series, Love Where You Live. And to really get us going, I wanted to start off with a little bit of a game. And I want to play this game where I give you one word, and this one word is going to inspire almost every emotion possible in the room. This one word is going to really have good emotion, bad emotion behind it, everywhere in between. And just by saying this one word, we are going to feel all types of ways in here. All right? This one word is neighbors. Neighbors. Right now, when I say neighbor, what do you think of? Some of you right now have fond memories going on. You have some joy and happiness stirring because you're thinking of that neighbor who maybe you're living next to right now. Maybe you lived next to at one point, and you guys became family. You became so close. You rely on them, and so you are feeling just feelings of joy in the room. Others of you aren't feeling those feelings when I say neighbor. Others of you are feeling some frustration and some anger that you thought you had dealt with, and it's kind of coming back up right now because there is an ongoing fence issue that you are dealing with, and I've just reminded you about it. Others, when I said neighbor, you almost instinctively rolled your eyes and you had to refrain, right? Some of you had to refrain from doing that because your neighbor is sitting next to you, maybe to your right or to your left. But whatever it is, just by saying the word neighbor, we feel every single type of emotion. And here's why. Because you've had neighbors for the majority of your life, and you didn't choose your neighbors. You didn't choose your neighbors. You chose an apartment. You chose a house. You chose a lot. You chose somewhere to live, and then somebody else who doesn't look like you maybe, who doesn't have the same hobbies that you have, who maybe listens to music too loud, who maybe talks a little too much, who maybe is a little awkward and out there on social media, who maybe smokes something a little strange, that person moved in next to you. And they chose the apartment next door, and they chose the house next door, and now you didn't choose your neighbor, but you are now in a forced relationship called neighbor. And so when we talk about this idea of do we love where we live, some of you would say, Bradley, honestly, I don't know if love would be the right adjective. I'm surviving where I live. I'm pushing through where I live until they live somewhere else. But I don't know if I love where I live. And what we're going to talk about over the next few weeks, I think is going to be very helpful. I think it's also going to be incredibly challenging, but here's the idea. I just want to propose that your neighbors aren't there by accident. That maybe there's a reason why those people are next to you and why you're next to them. And maybe there's even a role that we have to play as neighbors. And maybe there is actually something that we need to do to be loving actively where we're living. And this isn't just kind of a novel idea because it's kind and the good thing to say. This is actually an idea from Jesus. Because the passage I want to start with was a passage where Jesus specifically mentions neighbors. And to set up a little bit of a context here, this guy Jesus shows up on the scene, claims to be God, the God that was talked about in the Old Testament. He claims to be the Messiah sent to earth to redeem all of humanity. So right away, he begins to kind of rile up the religious system, rile up those who were against someone claiming to be this, what they believed, a cult leader, leading people astray. And all of a sudden, now people are following him. And he's drawing crowds, and he's performing miracles, and there's all of these things coming out about Jesus, these healing people, and the religious leaders can't stand what's taking place. And so they have a few tactics that we see play out in the story of Jesus. But in some of these, they try and trip him up on some of his words. And they want to say, can we ask him some questions, get him to sort of show his own hand and loophole and make sure we can trap him into saying what we want to say so that we can show other people that he's not God, that he's not the Messiah, that he's not the one that was promised. And so what we're going to look at in this passage in Matthew is an attempt for the Pharisees to do that to Jesus. But what we get instead is sort of the marching orders of the church. What we get instead is a really cool moment where Jesus gets to sort of sum up his mission, sum up his heart for you and for me. And so what starts as a trap to try and trick Jesus into saying the wrong thing becomes a verse that I think is so powerful for us today. So here's what happens starting in Matthew 22:34. It says, one of them, an expert in religious law, tried to trap him with this question. Teacher, which is the most important commandment in the law of Moses? In other words, there's all these things we have to do to be right with God. We're trying to follow all of these steps. There's a bunch of them. There were so many at this time. So they want to say, Jesus, how about this? How about you rank what's most important? Tell us if there's one thing we get down, what would that be? And here's his reply. You must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all of your soul, and all of your mind. This is the first and the greatest commandment. Now, this is not what they were expecting, because this idea was brand new. They wanted something they could do. They wanted a box they could check. They wanted a formula they could put in to be right with God. And yet Jesus brings this brand new idea that everything in the Old Testament, all of the law, all of the rules, they can be summed up in this one single command: to love God. This was brand new. But then he expands it. And what he said next was even more controversial. It was even more shocking for his listeners. And here's what he says. The second is equally important. So it's separate, but really it's the same. Love your neighbor as yourself. The entire law and all the demands of the prophets are based on these two commands. So he says, okay, get this for new. Not only are all of the law and all of the prophets kind of summed up in love, but it's not just your love for God and your love vertically, but now it's about your love horizontally. And now if you want to be right with God, it also means that you are right with the person to your right and the person to your left. That this can all be summed up as love God and love your neighbor. Now, these verses to us, especially if you've been following after Jesus for a little while or if you've grown up in church, this can become one of those verses that we just know about, we say all the time, and we have this tendency to sort of circumnavigate this word neighbor because we like to think that we want to love some neighbors. Yeah, we will love our neighbor. We will love the neighbor that's down the street a little ways, who goes to the same parties that we go to, and who looks like us and who sounds a little bit more like us. We love our neighbor by coming to church and serving our community in that way. We love our neighbor by giving to organizations who help neighbors that we haven't met and things that they're going through. And listen, hear me, all of those are great ways to love our neighbor. All of those are absolutely important. They are essential. In fact, they are a lot of what we do here at Centerpoint and believe in. But the problem comes when we start to love our neighbor out there and we begin to forget that our actual neighbors are also our neighbors. That our actual neighbors, the ones that are near us all the time, are also our neighbors. And if we aren't careful, we can get so caught up loving those out there that we forget the ones who are right here. Yeah, Jesus would say it, you need to love your neighbor as yourself. Now, here's the interesting thing. That the Greek word used here for neighbor, it literally is a proximity term. So what he's saying, it can be literally translated as those that you are nearby. Those that you're nearby. Every single day as you walk through your life and your schedule and what you do, who are those that you are nearby? Jesus would say, love them as you love yourself. It's a brand new radical idea. And this radical idea, and I think really the reason he uses a proximity term is for this point, there is a purpose to where you have been placed. Don't miss this. There is a purpose behind where you individually, specifically, have been placed. Have you ever thought about this? That your spot, your place, your sphere of influence, no one else has it? No one else has been placed in your family, in your home, connected to your friends, in your schools, in your classrooms, on your bus, in your car line, in your workplace. No one else has been placed in your community and in your neighborhood. Here's the point. Your space is unique to you. It's no one else's. God has designed and put around you a sphere of influence, people in your life, relational connections, spaces that you visit every day that are uniquely yours. And so Jesus would say, here's my mission. Here's how I would sum up the movement, what's the most important, but the heart of Jesus. He would say, it's when Christ followers decide to love me, and by loving me, they go out into their individual circles that are all different, and they love there, and they love where they live. That's how I change the world. That's how a difference is made. That's how people discover this life-altering love of Jesus, is simply by his followers realizing that our circles are different, they're unique to us, we have a responsibility, and as we go love where we live, everything will change. That is what Jesus means when he says we have to love our neighbors, those who are nearby to you. So what I want to do over the next 4 weeks, I want to look at one interaction that Jesus has with a neighbor. And it's in this interaction that I want us to get incredibly practical and what does it look like to love where we live. And I just think this is going to be super helpful for all of us to start loving more where we're living when maybe we didn't even realize that we needed to. So what we're going to do is we're going to be in the book of Luke. And the book of Luke is really just sort of the middle, just to the right of the middle of your Bible. And it's actually a book titled Luke. And what you're going to see is that Luke wrote this document before it was in the Bible. but he set out to capture the eyewitness accounts of Jesus. Luke was one of those who saw Jesus turn the world upside down, but it wasn't just him. There were hundreds of them. And so he wanted to set out to record these as a historical document of what took place, of what the life of Jesus meant to people, of what happened. And so he interviews people who were healed and people who walked with Jesus and people who had these kind of one-off interactions. And so it's really cool, and I just want to encourage you, if you want to know what Jesus is really like, maybe you were invited by a friend or you just clicked on this link because someone shared it and you're going, yeah, I've heard what a religious system told me Jesus was like, or I've heard different churches tell me what Jesus was like, and they don't always line up. And so what is Jesus really like? I would just encourage you, would you go read the book of Luke? Because what you're going to see is again and again Jesus interacting with people like you and me. And what's really cool, all of the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the first 4 books of the New Testament, you will see again and again this pattern of Jesus, where yes, he does things for the crowd and for the many, but time and time again, you will see him pause what he's doing for the crowd and focus on an individual. He will pause what he's doing and where he's going and his agenda and his plans, and he will see someone on the outskirts of society, and he will invest and spend time there. And here's why. Because Jesus didn't see humans like humans see humans. Jesus didn't see humans like humans usually see humans, because Jesus saw humans as having specific worth. Jesus saw humans regardless of their cultural label, regardless of their past, regardless of where they've been. And if you watch Jesus in the Gospels, you will see time and time again, he goes after the ones that no one else is going after. He goes after the ones that society would say you shouldn't or you can't go after. He's touching and healing people with diseases. He's spending time with people who had no cultural value, like women and children. That's who he chose to spend time with. You will see him spend time and talk with and meet with and eat with people who were considered by culture as scandalous. This is what Jesus does. And I just want to pause for a second here, because I know there are some in the room or watching online, and the person to your right or to your left doesn't know it, but at some point along the way, you have begun to feel like one of those people who's been pushed aside. You begin to feel like one of those people who feels less than, or like they have a label from culture or because of their past. And maybe you even got that because someone who claims the name of Jesus has told you that. And I just want to tell you that I am so sorry that that's been your experience, because that is not the Jesus that we serve. And if you have ever felt less than from a Jesus follower, I just want you to go back and read Luke, because the heart of Jesus is for those who have been pushed aside and those who are struggling and those who are broken and those who feel they can't catch up. That is the heart of Jesus. And so I just want you to know, if you're here at CC or connecting in any way, that you are at a great place, because we believe that fully here, that Jesus cares for you. And so in the interaction we're going to see, starts in Luke 19, verse 1. And this is important. Here's how it starts off. It says, Jesus entered Jericho and made his way through the town. And I want to stop here because I don't want us to miss something. That Jesus was just passing through this town to get to Jerusalem. It's in Jerusalem that Jesus would spend his last days on earth. It's in Jerusalem that Jesus would sum up his ministry, that he would pass off his marching orders to his disciples for how to keep the church going. And it's in Jerusalem that he would spend his last days, be caught, be tortured, be murdered on a cross. It's in Jerusalem that he would raise 3 days later to save all of humanity. So some might say he had an important agenda ahead of him. That was where he was going. In Jericho, a blip on the map, somewhere he is just passing through. And then here's what Luke records next. And there was a man there, and he was named Zacchaeus. He was the chief tax collector in the region, and he had become very rich. So he tried to get a look at Jesus, and I love this, but he was too short to see over the crowd. Now, a couple of things that Luke points out about Zacchaeus as he's explaining who this guy is, and it's only a couple of sentences, but we get a lot of background. And I can almost feel Luke trying to hold back as he's processing who this guy is, just enough to set the scene. And so he points out, hey, he's a tax collector. And this was a very unpopular job. In fact, the Jews in this culture would have revered them as the lowest of society, because tax collectors were hired by the Roman government to collect taxes from their own people. But what they would do to make their own money is they would raise those taxes to profit whatever they wanted. So essentially, they were stealing from their own. And these were tax collectors. Now, Luke goes extends to say he's very rich and he's a chief at it. So in other words, he's good at this. He's a thief, and he's good at it, and he's making a ton of money. He would have been, at this time, the most outcast one can be from society. The most hated one can be, the most labeled one can be. And then I love this. I think that there's some bitterness there that Luke's trying to work out, but he's trying to stay positive because Zacchaeus, he knows the end of the story and that Jesus loves him. And so I think he's trying really hard. But then I also love that he just points out his shortness. Like he just has to add that in there. Like, yeah, he's very rich off of our money, and he's not even tall. Like he's trying so hard here. And I just have to feel for Zacchaeus because you might even know the song that says Zacchaeus was a wee little man. And then it doubles down in a wee little man was he. And I just feel for the guy because it's like you have one interaction with Jesus, life-changing for you, a big deal. It's recorded in history. And then your one biggest imperfection and flaw is written down for all of humanity to sing songs about for the rest of generation. I don't know. I just feel for the guy a little bit, but that's where we're at. He says, rich, tax collector, outcast, and short. And the next verse. So because he was so short, he ran ahead and he climbed a sycamore fig tree beside the road. For Jesus was going to pass by that way. And when Jesus came by, he looked up at Zacchaeus and he called him by name. Zacchaeus, quick, come down. I must be a guest in your home today. Now, there's a lot more to the story, and I'm actually going to stop there this morning. And over the next few weeks, we're going to look at the life transformation that happens in Zacchaeus and what Jesus does to love his neighbor so well. But there's one place that this starts, and I think it's important that we start there as well. And it's something we sometimes so easily miss, but pay attention that Jesus stopped and he saw Zacchaeus. He stopped and he saw. He had an agenda. He had places to be. He had things to do, like save the world. He had a full Google Calendar. But there was someone near him, nearby. Part of the Don't worry, land. I don't know what's happening. Can everyone in here still hear me? Is it good to just keep rolling? Cool. No one's looking at me from the back, so I'm just going to keep going anyway. So anyways, he stops. He sees Zacchaeus. To where he had a full calendar, he was on his road, he had things to do, places to be, and he stopped and saw because there was someone near him that needed to be seen. And here's a couple of things about Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus had lost his sense of belonging. He's so outcast, so removed from society, he doesn't have a place. He feels hated against, he feels unloved. He can't even be a part of the crowd because he's too short, and so he has to go up a tree, and that is where he feels his place is. He has no sense of belonging. Zacchaeus has no sense of identity. He's carrying this label of hated. He's carrying this label of thief. He's carrying this label of his decisions. He's carrying this label that others would look at him and say they are greedy, they are out for themselves. That is Zacchaeus. He has lost his belonging, he has lost his identity, and he's lost his purpose. He is living his life to steal from others and thinks that's where his purpose lies. But what we're going to see is that Jesus enters a whole brand new purpose for Zacchaeus. And so here's my thought. He needed to be seen, and just by being seen, those things begin to change. So my question for you and me is, what if someone near you needs you to see them? What if there is someone nearby on your travel route, to and from work, next to your cubicle, in your classroom, maybe in your own home, who needs you to see them? There are people all over our community who have lost their sense of belonging. They feel like there is not a place or a people who will accept them or bring them in, especially when it comes to the church, because they feel like the church is one of the places who has pushed them aside the most because of their mistakes or their past. There are people all in our communities who have lost their identity. They are carrying labels and think that their identity is what people say about them, and they have yet to hear the identity that Jesus has for them. There are people in our communities who have forgotten and lost their purpose. They are pursuing something in life that they think is going to fulfill them, that they think is happiness, and yet time and time again, they are left empty and void, and they need the purpose that only Jesus can offer. And then here we are nearby. Here we are every single day next to those people, near those people, in proximity to those people. And Jesus would say, what if we stopped and saw them? What if you stopped caring about what's next on your agenda and next on your list and how busy you are, and realize that there are people who need you to see them? Because they are so desperate for someone who has the hope and the love of Jesus to interact with their story. And that's what happens to Zacchaeus. But then don't miss this. This is important. He then calls Zacchaeus by his name. And we skip over that sometimes, but I think that this is so vital because it's another way that Jesus communicates love. It's another way that Jesus communicates value. It's another way that Jesus says that you are not the labels that everyone else is putting on you. You are not just a chief tax collector. You are not just a short, wee little man. You are Zacchaeus, and he calls him by name. Here's the tough and simple question. Do you know your neighbor's names? Do you just know the names of your neighbors? Now, I first asked this question of myself, and initially I thought, well, of course I do. And then as I began to really sit with this week and look at my own neighbors and do I know all of their names, I was surprised that I didn't know a lot of them. And yet, if we really hope to stop and to see people, it starts with knowing who they are and knowing that they're there. And so I just want to pose the question, do you know your neighbors' names? And then I had like an image. I don't know, is this working? Oh, perfect. Look, you guys are already on top of it. I had an image I want to show you guys that I really think is going to help us begin to love where we live. And so you're going to see this again and again every single week. So I want you to take a picture of it. You can kind of draw this out somewhere or put it in your own creative license. But essentially, you are this house right in the middle. And really, again, you're going to have to use some creative license here because everyone's neighborhood or lot is different, or apartment complex or whatever. It's all different. But for the most part, you get the point. You have about 5 people around you. You have those to your side, you have those across the street. And so for the most part, there are about 5. So I would just want to say for those who are like, well, mine looks different. Okay, just pick 5, all right? And here's what we're going to do to start. Over this week, just write their names. Just find out their names. For those of you who are like, well, I kind of already know them, or that's really simple, that's fine. Come back next week. But for this week, what if we began to stop and to notice people all around us? Because here's what I'd be willing to bet. Those 5 people are uniquely yours, and there's someone in that 5 who needs to be seen. There's someone in that 5 who has given up on belonging. There's someone in that 5 who has given up on their identity. There is someone in that 5 who has an in-place purpose. And God's placed you nearby as their neighbor to love where we live. So here's what I want to say, and then I'll end it. I think some of us all the time, and this is a common prayer that I pray, that I've heard that we pray is, God, I just want purpose. I want to figure out what's next for me, this thing you have for me, and God, what is this purpose, this plan for my life? Where do you have me? And I hear that all the time, especially as a pastor, and that's not a bad thing to pray. But sometimes, I think we're looking for that purpose out there. We're looking for that purpose to some place that we're going to stumble upon one day. And I just think for some of us, if you will come this month, you will begin to see that maybe, just maybe, your purpose is right in front of you. That maybe God has already delivered your purpose. That maybe your purpose looks like the 5 people that he has put you in proximity to. And he has a plan, he has a purpose, and he is ready to do something that you would not believe, transform lives, move his church forward, more work and more than you thought he could ever use you, all by the purpose that is right in front of you where you live. And that's my hope. Let's pray. God, I thank you for how you love us.
I thank you for how each and every single one of us was Zacchaeus at one point. Lost, no purpose, lost, no identity, lost, no belonging. And yet you interacted with us. You see past our hurt. You see past our shame. You see past our guilt. In fact, you want to remove that and bring that on yourself and give us everything that you're entitled to. Perfection, second chances, a restart. And God, you don't even stop there, but then you want to use us. And you want to work through us as the vessel to show others who are in that place that they are loved and that you are for them. And then, God, you went through the work of placing each and every one of us in a unique spot that's just ours. God, my prayer this week is simply that we can stop and see it. That it's not just another drive into our neighborhood on the way home. But that we can stop and realize that there are people who need us to see them. God, I pray that over this next month, you do something special. You help us love where we live like never before, and you help open our eyes up to people who need to be seen. God, I thank you for the amazing teams here and how even a power outage, they can just keep things running. God, we're so thankful for what you're doing in our midst. So in these next few moments, we just sing about you. It's in your name I pray. Amen.
Would you guys stand with us, please? You know, we just joked in the back that Satan's going to try whatever he can to try to stop us, right? And it ain't happening. We would have come out here and done this even if there was no power. We did that a few Christmases ago. Y'all been here for a while, so we're going to sing Live in Hope together, and I think it's a song that we can really declare that, like, he is our hope no matter what. We don't need lights and screens and microphones. We just need Jesus. Let's sing this.
How great the chasm that lay between us. How high the mountain I could not climb. In desperation, I turned to heaven and spoke your name into the night. Then through the darkness, your loving kindness tore through the shadows of my soul. The work is finished, the end is written. Jesus Christ, my living hope. Who could imagine so great a mercy? What heart could fathom such boundless grace? The God of ages stepped down from glory to wear my sin and bear my shame. The cross has spoken, I am forgiven. The King of Kings calls me his own. Beautiful Savior, I'm yours forever. Jesus Christ, my living hope. Hallelujah, praise the one who set me free. Hallelujah, death has lost its grip on me. You have broken every chain. There's salvation in your name, Jesus Christ, my living hope. Sing that again with us. Say, hallelujah, praise the one who set me free. Hallelujah, death has lost its grip on me. You have broken every chain. There's promise, your buried body began to breathe. Out of the silence, the roaring lion declared the grave has no claim on me. The morning, come on, that sealed the promise. Your very body began to breathe, and out of the silence, the roaring lion declared the grave has no claim on me. Oh, Jesus, yours is the victory. Yeah, oh, hallelujah. Praise the one who set me free. Hallelujah. Death has lost its grip on me. You have broken every chain. There's salvation in your name, Jesus Christ, my living hope. Hallelujah. Praise the one who set me free. Hallelujah. Death has lost its grip on me. You have broken every chain. There's salvation in your name, Jesus Christ, my living hope. And Jesus Christ, my living hope. My God, you are my living hope.
CC, we love you guys. Hope you have a great week. If it's your first time, go check out the after party outside. If you're our digital campus, the after party is coming to you right now.
Pull your hair back off the mic.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the after party. My name is Justin. This is Jamie. You guys saw Jamie in our service as one of our interns for the year. So we're going to talk about that in just a minute. But we just want to remind you, after party, just a chance to connect with you guys and help you get connected a little bit more personally with some of our staff, but also in our gathering. So always want to remind you, we text Centerpoint to 94,000 for questions about just about everything. Also, Next Steps happens every single month. You can find out information online about where it is, how to get there. Also, like, we do online special, we do on-site different. So like how to register, all the things, what you're gonna learn, all the stuff you need to know basically is there. And also app, website. Anything we missed?
No, I think you covered it all.
No? Do you want to say anything to all the people watching at home in the universe?
Thanks for joining us, guys. I'm so happy to be here. This is the last day of my internship, so it's been a very exciting day. So thanks for joining us.
Cool. Well, let's talk about that a little bit, and then yeah. So your favorite kind of taco is steak taco.
Yes.
With guacamole.
Steak taco. Yes, and your wife's guacamole, Rachel.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, she makes the best guacamole.
Yes.
So
She
I
makes
love
the
it.
best, like,
Everything.
kids.
Yeah.
Cheesecake, guacamole. I mean, like, she's so funny though. Every time she makes something, she's always like, I hope this is good. I'm like, babe, like, you're really good at cooking and baking, so like it's going to be. I just don't know. I'm like, you're like the most competent person in the kitchen, but like but it also like the bar is so high for her.
Oh
she's
yeah,
so
everything
good at stuff.
everything I've ever eaten
Like,
that she's made has always been so good.
It's super good. So that's our internships at tacos is not the most important thing. It is important,
Yeah.
but so I have a couple questions here. So what were some of your favorite parts of the internship?
So I love connecting with people. Like, I love meeting new people. I love building relationships with people. And I feel like this internship like really helped me learn how to do that more and just like connect with people and like learn how to be there for them and like help be there with kids. And like that was really fun for me to just like learn more about and like get a better understanding for because like that's really gonna help me like further my ministry and stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and if you're not sure, like what do you mean internship? Because every internship's a little different depending on where you're doing it, what your career program is, what things like that. Basically, here you would agree to a certain amount of hours and responsibilities
Yes.
in a specific ministry. So like for you, it's elementary ministry.
Yes.
certain amount of hours, certain jobs you're doing every week. You're learning stuff. You're teaching our baptism class,
Yes.
stuff like that. So that was super cool. Another question here is, what is something you felt you learned through this experience?
So I learned.
This is like a test.
Yeah, so there are
like a-
so many things that I learned, and I'm so grateful for everything I learned over this year. But like the one thing that really stuck out is we learned a lot about the background of the ministry and what it takes to run a ministry and what it takes to put a team together and to put the curriculum together and all of that. And it was amazing to be able to see all of that happen because even me at first, I didn't know what it took to put everything together. And I didn't know all the strength it takes and all the people it takes. So it was amazing to be able to see all that it takes and all that you guys do for us and those kids. Like it was so amazing to be able to learn that and just know how to do that for my future.
Yeah. Well, and this is what I say. A lot of people, like you say, you learn a lot of the behind the scenes type stuff, if you will. Even talking to new people joining our team, I'll tell them we have about 75 people on our kids team.
Yes.
Which we're like, well, that's a lot. Like, well, yeah, but we have a lot of kids. But that's just one of so many teams. Like you started with the elementary ministry, but we have everything with adult ministries, groups, first impressions. We have a digital campus. We have spots for you where you can serve in a lot of different capacities. So just because if you're like, well, I'm digital, I can't show up on campus, like that doesn't matter, honestly. Like you still have spots you can serve. You can find out about that at Next Steps or by texting Centerpoint to 94,000, even like all sorts of things. So how about any fun memories? Anything you're like, oh man, this was a good memory. This was a good time.
So yes, the first thing that just popped in my head was, so we once a month we would have an intern meeting just to gather, go over more of the just the internship program and like what it means to serve in ministry. And one of the intern meetings, Bradley was teaching, and he gave all of us, we had to pick from like this little basket of like a random topic that we had to just, we had 5 minutes to prepare a 5-minute message and this just like one word and that's all you got. And one of the other interns, Faith, she got a vegetable, like something that she had to talk about, like was like a vegetable sermon. And she turned it into actually a very great faith-based sermon. Like,
Really?
So she brought like eating gross vegetables to like this really cool like turnout like faith sermon. And it was actually really fun. Like we all were shocked that like that happened. We were not expecting that from that vegetable. So it was just really funny. And like that was a really fun intern meeting. So
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, and that stuff too. Like you learn some practical stuff. You have your responsibilities, but then also we talk leadership stuff. We talk, all sorts of things because we want to really help you no matter where you go in life to be able to really succeed. So any other things about your internship? Anything you're like, man, this was awesome. This was like not awesome. And like anything you were like.
No, truthfully, the whole internship was really awesome. I completely think that you guys should do that. If you guys are interested in working in ministry one day or interested in working in a church, like doing this internship is a really great idea because I started feeling like I was being called to ministry and learning about the background information. Like I even know more so that I want to do it. So if you guys want to learn more about the church and learn more about like what it calls to be a ministry, then come do this internship, guys, because you will learn so much about it. And like me, hopefully at the end of it, you guys will be more pushed to do it even more so. Yeah.
Well, that's why I say, no matter what your goal is in life, if you're like, well, I'd want to work at a church or I don't want to work at a church, like, we think the things you're going to learn are going to be helpful everywhere. And you can be a culture shaper no matter where you're at, whether that's in a church context, in a home, at school, in the marketplace somewhere. So you can check out CC College. On our website, you can check that out. You can also text CC College to 94,000. Help really get all sorts of information on that and, help take whatever step. So you guys, this has been the After Party. We'll see you guys next week. We're going to continue our series, Love Where You Live. Have a great time.
Yeah, have a great weekend, guys.
Stay easy, guys.